Hello everybody, today we're on 3.6 estimate quotients and 3.7 divide decimals by whole numbers. We have two objectives or two goals for the lesson here today. The first one is right here. You will be able to estimate decimals and judge the reasonableness of the response. And the second one is you'll be able to divide decimals by whole numbers, okay? So even if we've gone over this before, this is still a really good video for everybody to watch. Okay, so how do we estimate? Okay, when you're estimating, you're going to want to use rounding and compatible numbers. A lot of you have already seen rounding, right? If we have 4.5, okay, we always look to the right of the number. So if I'm rounding this number right here, I look to the right of it. If it's 5 or more, we're going to round up. So that is going to be approximately 5. Compatible numbers are just numbers that are easy to divide mentally, okay? All right, let's dive in here. All right, we have 11.75 divided by 3. All right, so again, we are rounding our decimal. So when you look at your decimal, it's 11.75. Okay, now when you look to the right of the decimal, that's 7 or more, right? So that's going to round to about 12. I also want that to be 12 because of my compatible numbers. Okay, 12 divided by 3 is much easier to do in your head than 11.75 is to do divided by 3. So remember, your first number here, when it's written like this, it's going to be your dividend, or it's going to go inside the house. So we have 12 being divided by 3, okay, which is going to be, that's correct, guys, 4, okay? So 11.75 divided by 3 is going to be about 4. Remember, when we're estimating, we use that squiggly line, or that squiggly equal sign, which means approximately or about that number, okay? All right, same thing over here. We have 72 divided by 8.3. Our first number is our whole number here. We're going to put that in our house because it's our dividend. 8.3 is going to be our divisor. And 8.3 is going to round to 8. Okay, so 8 goes into 72 9 whole times. We subtract, no remainder. So 72 divided by 8.3 is going to be about 9. Okay? All right, next up we have 54 divided by 9.16. Okay? So again, our first number is our dividend, so that goes inside our dividing symbol, okay? 9.16 is going to round to 9, and these are also compatible numbers. Again, 54 divided by 9 is a lot easier to do in your head than 9.16. So 9 goes into 54 6 whole times with no remainder. Perfect. Okay, this one on the right here, the 10.75 going into 99, I already set up for you. So I'm going to round this number because it'll be a little bit tricky to do that, and I'm just going to round. I'm going to estimate here. So I'm going to keep my 99 because I'm not going to round that. But 10.75 is going to round to 11. Again, rounding is pretty easy here, and I'm using compatible numbers to make it easier to do in my head. Okay. 11 can go into 99 9 whole times for a perfect no remainder problem. Okay? All right, again, whenever you're setting these problems up, that first number, when it's set up with this, with this kind of division sign right here, okay, the number right here will go inside the house. The number over here, it's going to go right here, right outside, okay? You have your dividend on the left and your divisor on the right, because that's what you're dividing it from, okay? All right. Now I want you to pause the video and I want you to try these two problems on your own using estimating. So I'm talking about rounding and compatible numbers, okay? When you're ready for the answer, hit play, and we'll see how you did. Okay guys, welcome back. So on my first one here on the left, this one right here, okay, I did 45 divided by 5 because I wanted my 4.6 to run up to 5. Now again, they also were compatible numbers, so much easier to do in my head, right? 45 divided by 5 is going to give us 9. Pretty easy mental math. Okay, over here on the right, we had 32.4 divided by 3. Now, many of you may have rounded to 32 because of this 4 right here. Okay, and I understand that. But if we rounded up to 33, we round this number up to 33 divided by 3, they become those compatible numbers work as well. Now, if you kept it at 32, you would get kind of a similar answer, but you're not using compatible numbers there to do it mentally in your head. So just kind of keep that in mind. You won't see a whole lot of these problems where it's kind of a little, it could be either or, but just think about compatible numbers and wanting to do that mental math in your head, okay? Alrighty, so now we're on to dividing decimals by whole numbers, okay? So right here I have 6.8 divided by 2, so this is how we're going to set it up. First things first again, so now we are done estimating. Okay, that was in lesson 6, now we're on lesson 7 here, and we're going to divide decimals by whole numbers. So we're not going to estimate and change these decimals, we're going to keep them the same, okay? Alright, so the first thing is I'm going to set up my division problem accurately. So I have my 6.8 right here as my dividend, which goes under the house. Okay. Then I have my divisor, which is my second number right here. It's going right there. So that's your first step. Your second step here is to line up your decimal points. So right here, I'm going to put this little dotted line straight up right there. Okay. It's your second step after setting up your division problem. Now we can straight up divide. So many times does 2 go into 6? 3 whole times. Again, lining it up is very important. Being very clean with your lines and your numbers. So 2 times 3 is 6. I'm going to subtract 6 here and get 0. Bring down my 8. How many times can 2 go into 8? 4 whole times. That goes right there. Okay? The reason why your decimal point needs to be done first is because sometimes that can be forgotten. And if you forget your decimal point, then your answer would be 34 there, right? Be 34, but that is not correct. It is 3.4. Okay? So you set up your division problem accurately, putting the right numbers in the correct spots. Put your decimal point up in this area right here. And then I'll just divide like any other problem. Okay, so we have 7.7 divided by 14. So we're going to set this up as 14 as our divisor, goes up front. 7.7 is our dividend, okay? So I've set up my problem. I'm going to line up my decimal point here. Right there. Okay, my erase this on line. Oopsie, I'm going to start over here. Sorry about that. Not start over, I'm just going to rewrite it. Okay, my decimal point is in place. Now I'm just going to start dividing. Okay, so 14 goes into 77 5 whole times. Put my 5 right here. Okay, so 14 times 5 is 70, so I'm going to subtract 70. Get 7. So right here, it's going to be 0.5. Remainder 7. Okay, so another one here. So we have 118.5 divided by 5. So let's set this problem up. So 5 is our divisor, and 118.5. So we set it up correctly. Line up our decimal points so they're right above each other. Okay. How many times can 5 go into 118, guys? So 5 can go into 118 23 whole times. So I line it up. So 23 is directly over 118. 5 times 23 is 115. 118 minus 115 is going to be 3. And then bring down my 5. Okay. 5 goes into 35 7 whole times. Just going to give us 0 for remainder. So our answer here is going to be 23.7. Okay? All right. The next slide is going to be you trying to on your own, and then that's it. Okay, so our first one here is 55.2 divided by 46, and our second one is 11.4 divided by 19. So just pause the video, try to work these out. Whenever you're ready, hit play. All right, folks, so for the first one, it should be 1.2 is your answer right here. Your second one should be 0.6. Again, if you're still struggling, don't worry. We have all classroom tomorrow to work on this and practice it, okay? Just make sure to come in with your notes complete, and I will see you in class. Bye, guys.